Hello everybody, 99 and Dads. How's everybody doing today? It's Thursday, and you know what Thursday means. Thursday means it's garbage day. And I am so disgusted with this person, you have no idea. You have no idea. This is a guy that is all for his family, his love of family, and his kids and everything else. And he's a good God-fearing person, so to speak. Well, he better fear him when he meets that pearly gate. I'm just telling you, for what he said in this hearing. I am just disgusted. I really am. So, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I tend to say what's on my mind. I don't filter myself very often. Sometimes I say sorry or excuse me because I do say some curse words that upset a few people, but sometimes they're out before I can do anything. And I don't have an editing thing on here. And if I did, I wouldn't know how to use it. So if it comes out, it comes out. Mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa in advance. All of my stuff, and even in my bio on my channel, it says for entertainment purposes only. So there's that. All my hangers on. All my hangers on out in Winnipeg. And newcomers, oh my God. Up in Flin Flon, Manitoba, the forest fires are raging up there. I'm just sending good karma and positive vibes. That's all I can do. I wish I could do more. But yeah, Flin Flon's just about evacuated, ready to evacuate, I think. They were yesterday. We'll see. You never know with those fires. They can calm right down, and then before you know it, you got to get out now. There's no chance. So make sure you have a to-go bag, because that is very, very important. I'm just saying. All right, so let's get into garbage day, shall we? Little Marco, the little small man. He's a troll, and he should be living under a bridge. A couple days ago at a hearing, I seen this on C-SPAN, by the way, with Senate Appropriations Committee, Trump's little cabin boy Marco Rubio testifies about his actions so far since he was sworn in. The fella that I watched question him was remarkable. He really was. He was remarkable. Senator Jeff Merkley, he's a Democrat from Oregon, and he said, back in March, you stated you had removed over 300 student visas, citing the 1952 Immigration and Nationality Act, which specifically says the Secretary of State can revoke a visa if an alien's activity in the United States would have serious adverse foreign policy consequences. Since March, how many have you revoked? Pipsqueak says, probably in the thousands, but not all of them are under that statute. Some are from another one. Merkley says, you testified in Louisiana in an immigration court that was a pretty expansive interpretation of that 1952 law. You said it could be for citizens and it extends to non-citizens for past, present, and expected beliefs, statements, or association. Expected. So what old little Rubio's saying, he used the words expects, and that leads me to believe that little Marco, Secretary of State, can use his own discretion and say, oh, we're going to revoke them because they look like they might do something. I don't know. I think they might do something. This is not what the Fifth Amendment says, Marco. That's a violation of due process. We've been hearing that a lot lately. Marco says a visa isn't a right, it's a privilege. Yes, it certainly is. But you don't have the privilege to just revoke them. And another Secretary of State, under a different president, gave your father a visa so he could come to the United States of America from Cuba and have a better life and let you be the complete asshole that you have turned out to be. Because that's what America used to stand for until this administration got in there and decided they were going to run things, I don't know, like a dictator? Yeah, close enough. So yeah, just remember that, Marco. Somebody else gave you a shot and they weren't expecting you to do anything. So you keep that in mind next time you do shit. Merkley goes on to question him on the huge cuts to U.S. aid. Elon said he just tossed U.S. aid in the wood chipper. It did not involve consultation with Congress, who is supposed to approve it, and there was no discussion about consequences of that action, no rewriting of a law, no discussion on what funds would be delayed or frozen or redirected. The result of these actions, according to various groups that track all of these things involved in all the statistics involved with U.S. aid, and the destruction it caused in just those 2 days in February, when Elon Musk said he took the chainsaw to USAID. Did Elon Musk have your support in putting U.S. aid into the wood chipper? Marco says, oh, that was an X post. Social media post. That's not a government action. Merkley says, no, not at all. It was a quote. It's what he said. Marco says, oh, yeah, okay, that's what he said. That's not ultimately what happened. As acting director, all these decisions have to come through me. Bingo. Dab it on your bingo card. Gotcha. Merkley said, do all these decisions ultimately come from you? Marco, the ones I signed off on do, which are the ones that happened. Yes. So, all those cuts, even those with U.S. aid? Oh, but these are just contracts, he says. And Merkley goes, oh, with or without your support, that's what I'm asking you. The Doge team did a lot of cancellations and firings very quickly, and it wasn't clear to me. Did Doge have your support or not? Marco, the Doge team didn't do anything. I did. I'm the one that made those decisions. I went through the contracts, literal spreadsheets of contracts, line by line, while I was in some hotel somewhere, I think it was Guatemala, in a hotel going over the contracts that were canceled, contracts that were approved. These were all just contracts. No, Marco, these were all people's lives that you were playing with. Merkley says, okay, so I put the responsibility on you since you're taking credit for it, rather than on Elon Musk. The Boston School of Public Health has a website, he said, and they post their data on the estimated deaths due to the actions of the cuts on February 1st and 2nd to USAID. That they both the actions that were taken to dismantle USAID, and they update it constantly, like by the hour. It's like a running clock. So when you go to it, the numbers keep changing. They have a 1-year estimate. They also have estimates as to what's happened up to and including the day you're looking at it. The action taken in putting U.S. aid in the wood chipper are as follows. Child malnutrition, 53,500 more deaths just since February 2nd. And he says, and I'm rounding off here because the numbers are increasing. Child diarrhea, 45,400 more deaths. Child pneumonia, 59,200 more deaths. Malaria, 25,100 more deaths just since February 2nd. So what happened that weekend resulted in the death of hundreds of thousands of children. And the estimates for the rest of the year to December 25 are going to be astronomical. This happened because the law was not followed, with Congress not bringing in experts, having hearings. How do you just kind of accept this when you put forward that it was your actions that canceled these contracts, freezing funds, firing individuals, that resulted in the deaths of hundreds of thousands of children? Marco goes, in true MAGA fashion, he says, oh, that's false. That's fake. That's just not true. That study's based on if we canceled every one of those programs. The study says a near total freeze in U.S. foreign aid for HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, and other diseases. It is not a total freeze. And that's why all these deaths are because of a near total freeze. You say over 100,000 children died because the U.S. pulled out and reduced funds to U.S. aid. That would mean nobody else in the world is doing anything. We're taking care of the whole planet? Merkley just looked at him with a real disgusted look on his face and that flippin' friggin' attitude he had. There are several other studies as well that are backed up by evidence. You say U.S. aid is not completely shut down, but 80 to 90% of it is. And nature study data shows that because of what happened, we will see over 15 million additional deaths over the next 15 years just from HIV that's producing 14 million, HIV producing 14 million more orphans, another 10 million people, both children and adults, dying from malnutrition, tuberculosis, diarrhea, malaria, and other diseases, and even higher numbers are quoted from the Friends of the Global Fight Against AIDS. This rash shutdown without due process of law that is not coming and doing it in collaboration, rewriting the law, freezing funds, canceling these contracts, consultations, you have exacted an enormous harm on the world. And Marco goes, again, those numbers are staggering and unrealistic. The reality is of what you're saying, unless the U.S. funds foreign aid at this level in perpetuity, the world is going to suffer. 15 million deaths in 15 years. Well, Marco, when you figure that over hundreds of millions are already dead, 1 year, 1 million people died in the 1 year of COVID, the year that your Lord and Master that gave you this job that you just seem to relish in, he gave you that job and he did absolutely nothing. So by him doing nothing during COVID and not shutting things down soon enough and stuff, that's the effects of what you're doing to other countries around the world, including the United States, because a lot of the farmers grow food for U.S. aid. So you shut them down as well, and their families and their children. So what are you doing? Over 1 million people died from COVID, so what are you doing? Going for a global world record now? Is that what you're going for? And your boss allowed it to happen. And you chirped up once in a while, but then you got bitten by the MAGA mind virus, and there you went. You're all head in. And I want you to think about this, Marco. I want you to think about this really hard. Your wife, the ex-Miami Dolphins cheerleader, opened your home as a base for your political committee, and she charged flooring expenses, $5,700 for gas and food, personal car repairs, $134 for a haircut, and on your Republican credit card. Not your credit card, the one that belongs to the RNC. But sure, you remember those hundreds of thousands of kids who starved to death, while yours will never go hungry. Or the 14 million orphans that won't have a parent to tuck them in at night, read them a bedtime story, give them a bedtime snack, tuck them in and kiss them goodnight. Those kids are already gone. They'll never have that. And the ones that are on their deathbed aren't going to have it either. So I sure hope for the rest of your life that when you close your eyes at night, you see those poor starving kids dehydrated from diarrhea, malnutrition, and dying from dysentery all night long for the rest of your miserable, privileged life. And I hope you're now teenagers, your 4 kids teenagers in middle school, get to see this and your flippant, disgusting testimony on Capitol Hill. And when they ask you, why did you do that? Why did you agree to do that, Dad? And you can say, because the mango moose knuckle told me I had to, because I have no spine and I handed my balls over to Trump the day I took my oath. That, my friends, is a garbage person with no heart and no soul. And wait till he gets up there to those pearly gates. It's going to be a down elevator to his left, I'm afraid. Anyway, 99 loves you. Be good, be safe. Please take care of you first so you can take care of somebody else. Vivi's out there wandering in the yard somewhere. But anyway, she's still around. I love you all. Don't forget to love me, like me, and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and I love you all so much. I hope you enjoyed this one. Take care of you.